Have you ever thought that it might be time to take a step back right now in your business? That actually might be the truth, and I might recommend it, but it also might not be. With all that we have going on in our personal lives, in our business, especially if you're still working a full-time job, you can be being pulled in a million different directions. And we haven't talked about even challenges or family struggles that might be coming up right now. And with all those things going on, you might be getting the feeling that it's time for you to take a step back in your business so that you can catch up in all of those other areas of your life. Now, before you make a decision or not, I want to share some of the strategies that I use for myself, but also for many of my other clients, so that you can actually figure out if now is the right time or not. Because the truth is, if you feel like you're constantly taking one step forward and two steps back, ultimately you may never be able to create that business you truly want and deserve. But what if there was a different way? What if we didn't give control to the outside world to prevent us from taking the steps we needed to take? What if in this new way, it gave us an opportunity to keep taking action, but without having to feel like you're burning yourself out or sacrificing other important areas of your life, including your family time or your health? Really, that last part is why we wanted to put this video together for you. If you're someone who wants to lean into the possibility that maybe it's not time to take a step back, but maybe it's time to get more creative, then this is the video for you. But if now is not the right time, I still want you to listen to the end, just to think about the different opportunities that this could present. And if you decide now is not the time for you, I'm 100% in your corner too. Just be open to finishing this video and really being open to the different suggestions that we're going to give you here today. So let's jump right into 5 uncommon strategies for business success, especially in busy seasons.
Strategy number 1 is to prioritize. We love using the 80-20 rule, which means 80% of your results come from 20% of your effort. So when you identify the most important things that you can do, that's your 20%, and it's going to result in 80% of the results. Now, if you identify that 20% to be your most important things, then the results will really create momentum for you. Now, in busy seasons, we have to make hard decisions sometimes. When we identify our 20%, it doesn't just mean we identify the 20% of the activities that we do in our business. We also apply that in our personal life. Now, we have 2 kids, and we want them to be active, but we don't have them both in sports. We only have one in sports. Now, it's just for the season. Of course, we want our kids to be active and we want them to participate in different sports and different activities. But it can be a lot when both kids are doing extracurricular activities. So we decide to just stick with one.
I really love the 80-20 principle because you can even take it a step further. In moments of emergencies or when things are just completely out of control, I take the 20% of the 20%, meaning there's 1 or 2 activities that I do in my business that move the needle the most. And if all I can do is those 1 to 2 activities, that is far better than nothing. So the busier you get, the deeper you get into that 20% activity. Now, number 2 is more based off of a question. It is, how can I excel at both? When you start to ask yourself this question, like, how can I excel in business and my personal life? How can I excel as a parent and as a spouse? It opens up the door and makes it an and situation instead of an or. It helps you become more creative and actually open up your mind to hearing and seeing about the possibilities that could be out there that maybe you just don't know right now. And it's not whether or not you have the answer when you immediately ask yourself this question. It's if you're in an environment to actually find it, you'll hear it in a podcast, on a video, maybe even on this channel, but you have to first be open to it. So ask yourself, how could you excel at both? And remember, it's not that you just have to take more action. It's just you have to get more creative on the actions that you do take.
Number 3 is to learn how to say no. Now, this may be hard, especially for us people pleasers, but it's super important to set boundaries. You need to decide and go back to your priorities and determine if you got to say no. Now, to help you determine that, go to your priorities list, see where your 20% is, and if whatever you're being asked to do does not align with your priorities and doesn't align with your goals, then you just got to say no.
And remember that every time you say no, you make everything else you say yes to even better. Now, before we get into number 4, if you're enjoying this, definitely hit the like button. Now, the 4th uncommon strategy for business success is to ask yourself, how could I achieve more without doing more? Now, as business leaders, typically we're high performers and we like to take everything on ourselves. Meaning when we're looking to see even more success, we throw more action and more time and more of our energy at it. But when you ask yourself a question like this, how could I achieve more without having to do more? It starts to open your mind to the possibilities of getting other people involved, or even getting a system in place so that everything doesn't have to come down to you. This is actually something that we tackled on a recent workshop. We talked about how to double your productivity by hiring, teaching, and delegating for your business. I can't tell you how much of a relief it was when I started to get outside help, and it freed me up to do the things that only I could do. Now, when you ask yourself this question, know that it's going to be a little bit uncomfortable. And that's because everything you've done in the past has gotten you to where you are right now. But what we really have to realize is if we want something different, we have to be willing to do something different. So instead of throwing more action at things, throw a little bit of creativity out there, which will perfectly blend into business strategy number 5.
So number 5 is, who is someone who can help? As Mark said, we don't want everything to fall on us. We need to ask for help from time to time. This all goes back to our first strategy, which is prioritizing. If you identify some of the activities that you know need to be done, but they don't necessarily need to be done by you, find someone who can do it. It could be something as simple as finding someone to clean your house. For us, that has been huge. Because we literally work at home, we want to make sure that our house is clean, but we don't have to do it. We have someone come and help us so that we can actually work on the things that make us money. Now, I know it costs money to have someone clean the house, and maybe you're not making enough to do that. However, we decided we were going to hire someone to come and clean our house even when we didn't have the extra cash, because we knew it was going to help us, and it actually really did. So now we're able to focus on our business, and we have a clean home.
Now, you might get to this point and realize maybe it's time to lean in instead of pull back in this season. But what do I do next so that I can double my productivity without having to do more? Don't worry, we got you covered. Tap the screen to see this recent workshop that Teresa and I did. This is where we shared how to hire, train, and delegate in your business so that you can create more without having to do more. Thank you for what you do out there every single day, and keep leading from the front. Bye, leader.